the traditional meaning, the orthodox meaning of the word yajna is to worship, to adore. It has very many meanings: to worship, to adore, to honor, to revere. An act of worship, an act of offering. All these are the various all these are the various meanings for this word. All these are the various meanings for this word yajna. All boils down to two factors: an an act of offering, an act of giving, added coupled with the bhavana of devotion. So an action which is offered with the bhavana of devotion is called yajna karma. Minus this bhavana of devotion, it is just a karma, it is just action. You cannot call it as yajna karma. So it is the devotional part, that it is the mind surrendering to the higher, which is the devotional part that makes it into a yajna karma. So what is yajna karma? To worship, to adore, to give, to sacrifice. You can use very many meanings. Very poorly, all this I am just summarizing what we have studied till now. Very loosely it is translated as very loosely they call it as sacrifice. And yajna is not sacrifice. It has something, it is something very more meaningful. The more meaningful thing is it is not an activity, it is a sadhana. From yajna as an activity, we move on to yajna as a sadhana. The moment the meaning of the word yajna turns into sadhana, then only it becomes a spiritual practice. Otherwise, it can be otherwise it is a other minus sadhana. It is a very good, it's a very ordinary activity. So yajna karma, the word yajna comes in with the word sadhana. Why this yajna karma? Why this kind of yajna karma has to be done? Yajna karma has to be done. Karma yoga, yajna karma has to be done because it is this yajna karma that purifies a person. It purifies a person, number one. Number two, it is not self-purification alone. In the process of self-purification, loka sangraha is involved. So, yajna karma is of two now. Yajna karma is of two. You can say chitta shuddhi, internal purification, by working for loka sangraha. So, yajna karma is an activity which is engaged with for the welfare of the world, resulting in internal purification, what is known as chitta shuddhi. Only self-purification looks like a very selfish activity. Lokas only working for the welfare of the society. You do very good things to you do a lot of things to the welfare of the society. By you doing so much of good to the society, your ego is becoming stronger and stronger. It is not. You do lot of good things. As a result of the good things, your ego has crystallized more. Your ego has become more strong. Then it is not yajna karma. You have done very good karma. That's all. You cannot call it as yajna karma. Therefore, what is yajna karma? Chitta shuddhi plus loka sangraha. Mathematics formula mari potu vechukonga. So that you can always recollect. So yajna in the way that we understand Karma Yoga, in the way that we understand, equals two things. Chitta Shuddhi, which is what is known as internal purification, and welfare of the world. Welfare of the world, which is Loka Sangraha, because by working for the welfare of the world, you are moving away from your selfishness. That's how Loka Sangraha helps. Otherwise, you work only for yourself. So when you work for the welfare of the world, which is what the higher ideal is all about, to that extent, your selfishness goes out. That is as far as the, this is as far as the Loka Sangraha part is concerned. Why the purification? What is known as the self-purification, the internal purification. This internal purification, self-purification, loosely, which you can call it as self-development also, is for you to, is a preparation to gain knowledge. It's a preparation to gain knowledge. How does it work? That is why more and more and more yajna karma you do, you develop what is known as sadhana chatushtaya sampatti. More you do yajna karma, you develop what is known as sadhana chatushtaya sampatti. Now sadhana chatushtaya sampatti, if you want to know, refer Atma Bodha commentary. I am not going into the details of sadhana chatushtaya sampatti. Ipo na adukulla ponna adukku rendu class aidum. We will not be able to discuss yajna. It is referred there in Atma Bodha intro, in Atma Bodha intro and verse number 1. If you read the commentary, the sadhana chatushtaya sampatti is elaborated in detail. I am not, but here I only want to bring it to the notice that Karma Yoga gives you this benefit of preparing for knowledge. And we go on saying it is preparing for knowledge, is preparing for knowledge. How does it prepare you for knowledge? It aids you in developing what is known as the sadhana chatushtaya sampat. Sampat means wealth. Sadhana chatushtaya. What is the sadhana chatushtaya? The Sanskrit word chatur means four. Four things you develop. Viveka, Vairagya, Shat Sampat, Mumukshatva. These are the four things. Viveka, Vairagya, Shat Sampat, Mumukshatvam. Mumukshatva. Refer Atma Bodha, verse number 1, commentary. Swamiji's commentary, verse number 1 is, he has listed out everything. It is explained in detail. I'm just giving the name so that you know what it is. Viveka, Vairagya, Shat Sampat. Shat Sampat is nothing but Shama, Dhamma, Uparati, Titiksha, Dharana, Shraddha. These are the Shat Sampat. So, Yajna Karma has twin benefits. Karma Yoga has twin benefits. The twin benefits of Loka Sangraha as well as the Chitta Shuddhi. So, in the process, what are you doing in Yajna Karma? You are fulfilling your internal obligation and you are fulfilling your social obligation. So, in one stroke, two obligations are fulfilled. That is why Yajna Karma has such a high value, extraordinary value, because two fundamental obligations of a human being is attended to. What are the two obligations? One is your internal obligation, the obligation that you have to your own self. The obligation that you have to your own self, which is self-development, leading to preparation for Jnanam, gaining the knowledge, Moksha. At the same time, there is a obligation to the society. When we take the, when we say society means, as I discussed in the intro portion, the totality, the welfare of the collectivity, the welfare of everybody, That's why it is called Lokaha. Lokaha means the world. World that has all type of species in it. Your attitude is to work for their welfare. You don't take up any particular species and work for their welfare. Loka Sangraha means a total welfare. What is the total welfare? You don't know. That's where the attitude of devotion comes. You take up a particular species and work for their welfare. It is a very good noble activity, but it doesn't fall under the category of yajna karma, karma yoga. Like you can work for the welfare of the human beings. You can work for the let us say you can work for the welfare of Indians. You can work for the welfare of human beings, or you can work for the welfare of exclusively. What it means here is exclusively. You can work for the welfare of animals. You can work for the welfare of trees, ecology. You can work for the welfare of preserving the ocean. Something you can do. But you take up something in specific and work for that welfare. In Karma Yoga, it is a loka, means a total welfare. A total welfare. What does the total welfare means? The total welfare means the attitude that you bring in. For welfare of the totality is an attitude, not an action. Working for a particular, working for a species is action. Working for the totality is an attitude. Loka samasta sukhino bhavantu. When we pray, what is that? Let everyone be. Let everyone be. Let everyone have. Let everyone be in kshema. Let everyone be happy. Now, what is that? What is it that will bring individual happiness that you are not concerned? What will bring individual happiness that you are not concerned? Karma Yoga says you wish for the welfare of the loka. A very subtle difference. It is easy to understand working for a welfare of a particular. It is always easy to understand to as in work for the welfare of a particular. The moment you say it is not the welfare of the particular, it is the total. And what is it that gives welfare to the total? Here the buddhi surrenders, here your intellect surrenders and say, I pray for that welfare, I wish for that welfare, I work with that bhavana, I work with that attitude, with that understanding. But if you ask me to define what it is, I don't know. That's surrender. If you ask me to define what it is, that I don't know. Because that is beyond the comprehension of the buddhi. So Karma Yoga brings in a beautiful thing. What is it? Siddha Shuddhi plus Loka Sangraha. Always we have this dilemma. Do we work for the individual salvation or do we work for the welfare of the world? Always this dilemma. If we say work for the welfare of the world, then it means you can't do this. If we say work for the individual salvation, that is lost. So there is always this dilemma. Karma Yoga, Yajna Karma comes and says it is not two distinct, two separate things. Both are to be done together. You work for Chitta Shuddhi and your attitude is welfare of the world. So whatever you do, whatever action you do it as an arpana, offering. The moment the word offering comes in, yajna has entered. What is that offering? Whatsoever action you do, it is offered for the welfare of the collectivity. Whatsoever you do, it is welfare of the collectivity. Whatsoever you do, it is welfare of the collectivity. Welfare of the collectivity, recognizing the higher. If you can't conceive of this, If a person can't conceive of this, if a person finds this very difficult to do, then we say have some unselfish ideal and work. At least work for your society, at least work for your country, at least join a Rotary Club, at least join one thing. And instead of working only for your, instead of working only for the welfare of your family, and go on acquiring, accumulating only for your family, spread your identification. This is what Yajna Karma is all about. So I have defined what Yajna Karma is. What is the prayojana of Yajna Karma? What is the effect of Yajna Karma? When you do Yajna Karma, what do you get? That also has to be explained. What is it that you get? First thing you get is sadhana chatushtaya sampat. You get that. You get that. When you do karma yoga, you get it. When you do karma yoga, chitta shuddhi happens. Internal purification happens for a constant purification. Finally, what happens? From being a grihastha, you turn into practicing sannyas in the grihastha. That is the preparation. In the where you are, if you are able to practice the sannyas only, you will be able to get on to the higher inquiries. What is the higher inquiry? The inquiry of Tattvamasi and all that. The Jnanam and Tattvamasi and what is Sat and what is Asat and all those discussions. Here we are discussing only in relation to the action part and the preparation for knowledge. Jnana yogena sankhyanam karma yogena yoginam. So we are discussing karma yogena yoginam. How does this turn into a yogi? He is saying yajna karma turns you into a yogi, Arjuna. How does yajna karma turns you into a yogi? These things you develop. These are the few things that you these are the few things that you develop. Last class itself I explained how yajna is a welfare of the loka sangraha, where the attitude of where all the mantras, the prayers and everything is directed towards the welfare of total, but nothing in particular. If at all particular is mentioned, everything will be mentioned. If at all the particular is mentioned, everything will be mentioned. When I say everything will be mentioned, what is it? Everything starting from the stavara, the single rooted one, the same all the species, the plants, the animals, the birds, all put together. You name them and you work, or you say samashti welfare. Loka samasta sukhino bhavantu. This is what yajna karma is all about. Why do we discuss this yajna karma? Because now from a different angle I am starting. Now from a different angle. Yajna karma is because action is the insignia of life. Action is the insignia of life. Since you are in action always, you need to know how to convert all actions into worship. Action is the insignia of life. You can't remain inactive even for a split second. So you are in action. All the time you are in action. The types of action differs, the variety of action differs, but something in common has to be there. Like what he says, Sutre Manigana Iva. That common thread has to be there in and through the individual actions. That common thread in and through the individual actions is how to convert all actions into worship. How to convert all actions into worship. And what is worship? Worship is remembrance. Worship equals remembrance. Remembrance of the divine is worship. When you are able to remember the divine, you are worshipping. When you are not remembering the divine, you are just acting. So everybody in the world is acting helplessly. Nahi kaschit kshanamapi jatu tishtatya karmakrit. Akarmakrit, nobody is inactive, everybody is acting, but all those are useless actions. Why they are called useless actions? Because the effort to remember the divine isn't there. Or the very involvement in the action itself makes you forget the higher. So what is, we say yajna equals worship. Worship means remembrance. Remembrance of what? Remembrance of the divine. In Karma Yoga, you remember divine as something different from you. In Jnana Yoga, you say, I am that divine. That's the difference. In Karma Yoga, the divine is something different from you. You understand you are a sadhak practicing sadhana to remember the divine. That is Karma Yoga. In Jnana Yoga, what do you do in Jnana Yoga? That divine which you thought as something different from you, you say, I am that divine. That's the difference. But both are remembrance of divine only. Both are remembrance of divine. Are able to follow? In the subtle difference you need to catch. இதுதான் கொஞ்சம் difficult portion in யஜ்ஞ கர்மாலே இதுதான் கொஞ்சம் difficult portion. Are able to follow? In Karma Yoga, you understand that you have to do a sadhana. You are a sadhak. You have to attain moksha. You need to do a lot of things to remember the divine, and all that you need to do in Karma Yoga. So Yajna Karma has all this. In Jnana Yoga, you don't say that you are going to get moksha. Here the sadhana is to get to moksha in Karma Yoga. In Jnana Yoga, you say, I am that. The God that I am worshipping is me. I am that. I am that. I am that. So a Jnana Yogi tries to remember that he is the pure consciousness in and through all transactions. He is the Jnana Yogi. He is a Jnana Yogena Sankhyanam. Very advanced spiritual seeker. Now everybody asks, I want to remember this. I want to do this. You can't do this unless you have done lot of Karma Yoga. Straight away you can't keep saying, I am. Straight away you can't keep saying, I am consciousness, I am consciousness, I am consciousness, I am Brahmanla. You can't say. You can say, but it will be so mechanical. You yourself will feel laughing at yourself after a while. Or you yourself will feel solely nothing is happening, nothing is changing, nothing is happening, nothing is changing. You feel that way. So what happens in Yajna Karma is this preparation. Are you able to follow? What is it? He says, I have to purify myself. Is Karma Yogi. Pure I am already is Jnana Yogi. Is that difference? I have to purify myself. The methodology that you practice to purify yourself is Karma Yoga. Jnana Yogi says, pure I am already. Pure I am already. Pure I am already. Now, the Yajna Karma Yoga part looks very difficult. And this portion seems to be very easy. What? I can simply remember that I am pure. No, sir. If I can simply remember that I am pure, I am pure, I am pure, all problems will get sorted out. No, nothing will get sorted out, because the agitations of the mind, the worries and anxiety, the krodha, the bhaya, the krodha, the bhaya, the matsarya, all that comes and keeps proving that you are not, you are not, you are not yet qualified for that. You are not yet qualified for that. So Krishna in the Bhagavad Gita quotes the Upanishads, and he says, it is, this has been laid out very clearly, Pura Prokta Maya Naga, Jnana Yogena Sankhyanam, Karma Yogena Yoginam. These two paths has been laid out. These two ways has been laid out very clearly, Arjuna. What is your confusion? How do I know that I am, how do I know that I belong to Karma Yoga type or Jnana Yoga type, sir? அதுதான் ப்ராப்ளம். இதெல்லாம் இவ்வளோலாம் சொல்லலாம், இவ்வளோலாம் வேண்டாம் எங்களுக்கு. இதெல்லாம் டோன்ட் ஷோ ஆஃப் ஆல் தட் வாட் ஆல் யூ ஹேவ் ஸ்டடிட் எல்லாம் we don't know. We don't want to know. How do I know for myself whether I belong to the Karma Yoga type or Jnana Yoga type? In a crisis, what do you do? Determines that. When you are faced with a crisis, if you run to God, if you run seeking an external help, you need to do Karma Yoga. In a crisis, if you are able to remember that I have nothing to do with this. In coronavirus, if I say I have nothing to do with this, body comes and body goes, I have nothing to do with this, you have become a Jnana Yogi. Karma, you know that you are fit for Karma Yoga is immediately you run to in a crisis. In a crisis, you run to God. You run to somebody seeking, what do I do now? What do I do now? What do I do now? Abdina, you are know that you need to do Karma Yoga. This is the most, as a thumb rule, you can keep it. As a thumb rule, you can keep it. இதெல்லாம் எந்த வருஷத்துல இருக்குன்னு கேட்காதீங்க இல்லையா? இதெல்லாம் which verse is there? இது elsewhere in the 13th chapter he says, Yah Pashyati, Sa Pashyati. Whoever sees it, sees it. How does one know whether he is fit for Karma Yoga or fit for Jnana Yoga? The crisis determines that. The crisis that you experience in life determines that. For akarma, clear? Akarma na worldly person. For a worldly person, he will face crisis after crisis after crisis only. For his whole life is a crisis. Midlife crisis will come, and then old age crisis will come. And then what will happen to everything in life is a crisis for that fellow. When you are faced with a crisis, what do you do? If you can take a stance of what is known as Sakshi Bhava, I am the witnessing principle, I have nothing to do with this. If you can take that stance and observe the situation, you are of the Sankhya type. Are you able to follow? In a crisis, if you get affected and you run to somebody seeking help, you run to somebody, you run to God asking for help. Now what you do? What will he say? The prescription that he will give you: do yajna karma. Do yajna karma. Are you able to follow? So how you react how do you deal with the crisis is an indication of self-understanding, whether you belong to Karma Yoga or Jnana Yoga. What is a Jnana Yogi? The Jnana Yogi says, the Sankhya, the Jnana Yogi says, it is Consciousness, it is Sakshi. What is God? How will the Jnana Yogi remember God? I said worship means remembrance. How will Jnana Yogi remember God? God is a consciousness, Chaitanya. It is enlivening principle. It is consciousness. Second is, it is Sakshi, witnessing. That's why the classic Upanishadic word is Sakshi Chaitanya. It is a witnessing consciousness. So, a Sankhya Yogi remember God as a Sakshi Chaitanya. A Karma Yogi will remember God as enlivener, protector, Karma Pala Data, and all that, which we are going to see later. I'm going to get into that discussion now. Then only we are entering into Yajna Karma. Now, for you to know where you belong to, this is the indication. In a crisis, how do you deal? Arjuna gotten into a crisis, and in that crisis, he collapsed. So it is an indication that he is fit for Karma Yoga. Though he wants to practice Jnana Yoga, though he wants to go to Jnana Yoga directly, Krishna is saying, no Arjuna, it will not work out for you. Why? Because you didn't know how to handle this crisis. You got affected in a crisis. Because who's a jnani? Ashochanan vasochastvam prajnavadamsha bhasase gatasuna gatasuscha nanushocanti panditaha. Verse number 11, chapter 2. Knowledgeable person, wise person, there is no crisis for him. There is no crisis for him. He doesn't know what is crisis. Before that, he says, how can you get dejected in a crisis? We will turn back. Arjuna couldn't understand this. Say, what are you talking, Krishna? Dejection will happen only in a crisis. No. When things are all normal, when things are all perfect around me, I am a better Jnana Yogi than you. When crisis happens, when crisis happens, I collapse. Are you able to follow? When crisis happens, I collapse. Now Krishna turned back and said, how can you get dejected in a crisis? Kutastva kashmalam idam vishamesham upastitam anarishtam swargyam akirtikaram Arjuna. Kutastva kashmalam idam kashmalam. How can you get into this dejection? How can you get dejected? What is the dejection? What is his dejection? The dejection of a human being is what? To put it very simply, in one word, dejection comes when things happen which you don't want to happen. When you experience that which you don't want to experience, that you call as dejection. That's what you call, that's where you get dejected. You don't want to get diseased and you get a disease. You get dejected. So what, you don't want a loss and you get a loss, you get dejected. You don't want a death to happen and death happens, you get dejected. So right through, dejection is caused by what? That which you do not want, that which you don't want it to happen, that which you don't want to experience, you are experiencing. You don't want to experience it, but you are as though forced to experience. This causes dejection. Are you able to follow? In dejection, what does the person do? The classic reaction in dejection is blame the other. The classic reaction of everybody is, whenever there is a dejection, blame the blame the other. Karma Yogi says, the spiritual person says, this dejection is because of my raga dvesha. This dejection is because of my raga dvesha. It is not because of things that is happening outside, because anyway things will happen outside. Anyway it will happen. So getting dejected over that which is going to happen is meaningless, no? Will you get dejected over that which will happen, which is bound to happen? And if you get dejected over that which is bound to happen, you are called you are called a fool. That's where the whole Shastras looks at the entire humanity and say, you are a fool. No, sir, but I have a PhD. Yeah, I have a PhD. I am from IIT. I am from here. I am from there. How can you call me a fool? Krishna turns back and say, you are a fool. You are disturbed. Now, what do I do to get out of this disturbance? What do I do to get out of the disturbance? The disease is explained. What do I do to get out of this disease now? The solution is given. What is the solution? You are in the initial stage of being a seeker. Do karma yoga. Karma yogena yoginam. Arjuna, you belong to the yogi type because you are getting dejected. If I belong to the yogi type, why you unnecessarily spoke about jnanam and irritated me? Why can't you just why can't you just talk about this and move on? I would have started. Now you unnecessarily glorified jnanam, because when I told you I am in dejection, you didn't give karma yoga as a solution first. You gave jnanam as the solution first. Remember, from verse number 11 to 40, the first thing that he spoke about is knowledge is the solution. If knowledge is the solution, I have to open the book and sit and study, no? Having said knowledge as the solution, you are driving me into action. This is where we always have this difficulty. What is the difficulty? The difficulty in, if knowledge, understanding is the cure for dejection, if knowledge and understanding is the cure for dejection, I should be pursuing knowledge. Why should I pursue action? This is the problem that everybody faces. Why can't I sit and study and gain knowledge? For which he says, action is a preparation. Pakasya vakhniva jnanam. Action is a preparation. Pakasya vakhniva jnanam. In solution is only, there are, you get so many different confusing ideas and ideologies in relation to the solution. Somebody will come and say God is the solution. Just do nama japa, just to do nama smarana, that alone is enough. Knowledge, karma, it doesn't really work that much. Another man will come and say there is no such thing called karma, bhakti and jnanam alla. Raj yoga alone will, or kundalini alone will. All that you need to do is raise your kundalini. That is the ideal thing to do. Another person will come and say, don't do all this. Simply surrender to me. I will. Yeah, I am the one who is going to take care of. Now you are faced with, for one dejection, you are faced with innumerable solutions. Another person will come and say, Vastu is the solution. Dejection is karna, Vastu, not all this. Why are you complicating jnanam, karma? Don't complicate. Vastu is the, so what is the, now a solution that is given has to stand the test of reason and logic. Yajna karma stands the test. The solution that is given has to stand the test of reason and logic. We have already given the reason and logic, and then I am bringing the question so that you can connect back. The reason and logic for yajna karma, the purpose and all that is given already. Since all that is explained already, you will be able to understand how the two paths is the, you can't say two paths, two stages. You can't say two paths, two stages. Even though we have to, English la sollumbodhu adhan, the Sanskrit word that he uses is nishta. Nishta means stages. Stage number 1 is you be a karma yogi. Stage number 2 is you turn into a Sankhya, a Jnana yogi. And what does the karma yogi bhavana is? Karma yogi asks, what is sadhana? What should I do? He will immediately ask, what should I do? What should I do? What should I do? What should I do, Nale? What is implied here? Action has entered. You are asking about action. Jnana yogi will not ask, what should I do? How do I practice witnessing? His question is not about what should I do. His question is about remembrance and witnessing. For you can't ask how to practice witnessing. No. How do I practice witnessing? If we ask, how do I practice witnessing? Don't get involved. How not to? Now the question still remains the same. Are you able to follow? So what does the Jnana Yogi do? The Sankhya Yogi's thing is about witnessing. The Upanishadic word is Sakshi Chaitanya. Witnessing consciousness. Witnessing principle that enlivens and witnesses. So, a karma yogi will be very uncomfortable with this witnessing. In fact, he can't take the stance of witnessing at all. He will say, witnessing alone being indifferent. We really have to get up and we really need to do something. We really need to do something. I need to do something about myself. I need to do something about myself. Abdinna, what you need to do? Do karma yoga, yajna karma. And when you do this, the methodology that is given is how to incorporate this in all aspects of your activities. In all activities. Therefore, it is established that yajna karma is what is needed to the active type. Yajna karma is what is needed to the active type. From the active type, you mature to a jnani, the Sankhya type. Jnana yogena Sankhyanam, karma yogena yoginam.
Crisis if you run to help for God, or you are asking some other individual, in remember you are karma yogi. Majority people go to the God only. So is everyone karma yogi?
The question that she is asking is, I said, what is the indicator of a karma yogi and a jnana yogi? How do you react in a crisis? She is saying, most to go to God only, no. Most to go seeking external help only, no. Most to run seeking external help only, no. Abdinna, does the vast majority fit under the category of karma yogi only? Yes. The vast majority of human beings is fit for karma yoga only. Very few people are matured for jnana yogi. Amongst those who are matured, one in a generation attains moksha. That's the sequence. Moksha and we think moksha, we think. ஏதோ கடகடன் கொஞ்சம் ஏதோ ஏதோ அப்ப எப்போ ஸ்பொராடிக்கா எராட்டிக்கா நம்ம பண்ணின்னு இருக்கிறதே பண்ணிருந்தா we get moksha and we think. It is not like that. The vast majority are not seekers only in the first place. The vast majority of human beings are still running behind the world only. For they are still seeking artha and kama as the end. Remember the four purusharthas, the four end of life. The artha and kama. The vast majority of human beings are still seeking artha and kama. Artha and kama means security and pleasure. I want to be secure. I want to be secure. I want to be entertained. Okay. Third factor, sir. We are not such bad people. We will pursue artha and we will pursue kama with the guidelines of dharma. The vast majority belongs to this category only. Very few are aspires for moksha. Amongst those who aspire for moksha, two stages, karma yoga and jnana yoga. Amongst those who aspire for moksha, two categories, karma yoga and jnana yoga. The vast majority of spiritual seekers are in the initial stages only. Since they are in the initial stages, they need to do karma yoga only. That is why he goes on saying, do karma a lot, do karma a lot, do karma a lot, do karma yoga as much as possible. Keep doing karma yoga, die with your boots on and all that. All that comes because through this karma yoga only there is a preparation. Are you able to follow? Therefore, the vast majority belongs to karma yoga only. And it is not inferior to be a karma yogi. Please understand that. It is not inferior to be a karma yogi. That is the stage that you are in. It's a necessary stage. Going to kindergarten is not inferior. If you have taken going to kindergarten as inferior means you have not understood the concept of growth itself in life. There are stages. The preparatory stage is not an inferior stage. But because you want quick result, because you want instant result, because you want the result without doing the effort, it looks like it is slow. That is why so many people who come into Vedanta just become very theoretical people. They just become so theoretical, which is so meaningless. Why it is so meaningless is because they think moksha will come through this. Moksha is not going to come through this. Are you able to follow? If the vast majority belongs to karma yoga only. Are you okay till now? Look at it from another angle. In the initial stages, you have quantity of desire. Remember these two things, quantity and quality. For quality to happen, what is the prior condition? Quantity kammi avun. Quantity kammi anada increase in quality. Are you able to follow? Quantity and quality. Quality of a human being is determined by his sakshi bhava, witnessing attitude. That is detachment. You can call it as sakshi bhava, you can call it as vairagya, you can call it as detachment, you can call it as sannyasi, you can call it as jnani. Any word you can use, doesn't really matter. That's why we really don't bother about a particular word. We liberally use all words because it is the concept that matters here. So what does quality means? Quality means witnessing. Now it is difficult to get into that quality when you have a bulk of quantity. A bulk you have. I can't say bulk of quantity. When you have a bulk, a huge quantity, what is the quantity? What is the huge bulk? The huge bulk of raga dvesha. Vedanta says vasanas. I'm deliberately not using the word vasanas. I'm using the word raga dvesha. You know, raga dvesha is more relatable. Vasanasana, it is very வாசனாசனம் எங்கேயோ இருக்கு. அப்புறம் அதுல வேற நீங்க என்னெல்லாமோ சொல்லிருக்கேன் சார். சஞ்சிதான் வேற இருக்கு, பிராரப்தான் வேற இருக்கு, ஆகாமைன்னு வேற இருக்கு. இதுல ஹவு டு ஐ நோ வாட் இஸ் மை சஞ்சிதா, வாட் இஸ் மை பிராரப்தா? அது இதெல்லாம் இந்த கன்ஃபியூஷன் எல்லாம் தேவையே இல்லை. குவான்டிட்டி ஆஃப் பல்க் ஆஃப் லைக்ஸ் அண்ட் dislikes is there, and you are affected by this likes and dislikes. So a karma yogi is one who is having a large quantity நிறைய இருக்கு. குவான்டிட்டி நிறைய இருந்தா குவாலிட்டி கம்மியா தான் இருக்கும். இட்ஸ் a law of life. You will never have billions of Nobel laureates and very few 10th standard people, no? Quality means less in number. Now, what is the quantity and quality of a human being? The quantity of the human being is determined by his likes and dislikes. When the quantity of likes and dislikes reduces, there is a positive manifestation in him. There is a positive expression in him. That positive manifestation, that positive expression of reduction of quantity of raga dvesha is what is called as sannyasa, vairagya, sakshi bhava. Likes and dislikes koreya, he will be doing more of that. Therefore, what happens? This is how karma yoga sheds the quantity and aids you to go in quality. This is how karma yoga, yajna karma, aids you in shedding the quantity. How does it aid in shedding the quantity? You are willing to give up your likes and dislikes for the sake of the other, for the sake of the totality. When you are consciously, willingly giving up your likes and dislikes, the quantity goes on reducing. When the quantity of raga dvesha reduces, the quality of you as a being increases. Quality of the human being, I'll become a better person, I'll become a jovial person, I'll become a happy, laughing person, I will be a happy person. Adallam kediyadhu. How do you determine the quality increase? The increase in quality is determined by the vairagya, the sannyasa. That person who is higher level practices jnana yoga. So jnana yogena sankhyanam, karma yogena yoginam. So you reverse it. Karma yogena yoginam, then jnana yogena sankhyanam. Are you able to follow? So most people belong to the category of karma yogis only because they have a lot of quantity. The quantity of desires is huge. The quantity of raga dvesha is huge. They can't even let go of a simple sensual raga dvesha. They can't let go. Ordinary sensual raga dvesha they can't let go. Not to worry about the raga dvesha at the level of the emotion, not to worry about at the higher levels. Don't ask for the list now. What is at the emotional, what is at the list which you can't do anything. You need to know how to let go of. And when you let go of, where do you start? You start from the senses. And the 12 yajnas first yajna would be sense control, and he will start. When we go into the 12 yajnas, he will start with sense control as the first yajna. First he will talk about sense control, then he will talk about prana control, then he will talk about mind All that. When we go there, we will see everything in detail. When we go there, we will see everything in detail. So the starting point of it is the senses. Are you okay? Seriya? Now, Vijay is asking a question. In a crisis, a Jnana Yogi witnesses. But will he still not have to act for a solution to a crisis? Are you able to follow? Yes, that is the beauty of a Jnana Yogi. The Karma Yogi will only cry and worry and get tensed and anxious. He cannot bring a solution to the crisis. Only the Jnana Yogi who is practicing witnessing can bring a solution to the crisis. So he will also act. A Jnana Yogi also brings a solution to the crisis and he acts. And when he does that action, it will be so effortless. It will be so this thing, he says, I am not doing anything, he says. Are you able to follow? You are correct. Still he will act to have, he will bring in a solution. That is why when we really get into a crisis, we go to God or we go to a guru for asking for a solution. No. Why? Because as you are involved, he is not involved. If he is also equally involved like you, then no point in going to him for a for a solution. You are crying, looking at you crying. He also starts crying. Now what to do? You are affected. Looking at you affected. Oh my God, you are affected. I am feeling your affectation so much like you. And he is also equally affected like you. Now what will happen? Yeah. You will be in first bed ICU and he will be in the next bed in ICU. Now what is the point? Therefore, he brings in a solution. But he is able to bring in a solution because of his witnessing ability. That's why he is able to bring in a solution. He is not involved in it. He is not affected by it. Therefore, he alone can bring a solution and he will act on it. But his action will be so effortless. Like in the Gita, elsewhere he says, though acting, I am not acting. He says, though acting, I brought in the solution, I am working to bring in the solution, and still he has this bhavana of, I am not doing anything. Adhan Jnana Yogi. He is the one who got the solution, he is the one who gives a methodology, he is the one who does everything. As he is doing everything, he has this understanding that I am not doing, because that kartrutva is not there. So a Jnana Yogi acts, a Sankhya Yogi acts without kartrutva. He is also acting, but he has no kartrutva. Are you okay? Huh, Vijay? Are you okay? Yeah. Bharat.
Karma Yogi is trying to eliminate kartrutva.
Yeah. What she is clarifying is, Karma Yogi is trying to eliminate kartrutva. Yes. The effort that he is putting is to eliminate the kartrutva. The worldly person acts with kartrutva. The Karma Yogi tries to act at the same time, not bring in the kartrutva bhava. Because it's a bhava, no? It's actually, the bhava can be one of ajnanam or one of jnanam. Now, the bhava of an ajnanam, the bhava that you have gotten out of ignorance, he is trying to overcome it. He is trying to overcome it. A Sankhya Yogi has gotten over it to a very large extent. Are you able to follow? So he is trying to eliminate kartrutva. Bharat, why is there no mention of bhakti at all? Why is there no mention of bhakti at all? Now, whenever we talk about Karma Yoga, I think I spoke about this in one of the previous sessions. I explained, which any number of times I will repeat it because these are all so fundamental formulas. These are all. A combination of karma yoga and bhakti yoga is what is called yajna karma. A combination of karma and bhakti is what yajna karma is all about. How do you say this? In verse number 8, 9, when he is introducing yajna karma, he puts it very beautifully. This world is bound by actions other than those performed for the sake of yajna. It means yajna karma is the action that will not bind you. What is it that is what is the bondage? The bondage of the immediate bondage of sukha and dukkha, the future bondage of vasanas increasing. Punarjanma. Punarapi jananam, punarapi maranam. So two things. This is the bondage. So what is yajna karma? In yajna karma is where action plus devotion. You can say, but knowledge of action is also there, no sir. So why can't he say yajna karma is action plus devotion plus knowledge? We don't say knowledge when it comes to karma yoga, yajna karma, because in Vedanta, knowledge means sakshi bhava. If the sakshi bhava isn't there, if the sannyasa bhava, the sakshi bhava, if the vairagya thing isn't there, it cannot be called as jnanam at all. Therefore, we keep jnanam as separate and karma and bhakti to be karma and bhakti together. Please understand jnanam not as in this class jnanam. இப்போ இந்த கிளாஸ்க்கு வந்துட்டா ஞான யோகா கிடையாது. இப்போ கிளாஸ்ல வந்து உட்கார்ந்தா ஞான யோகன்னு கிடையாது. What is jnanam means? Sankhya, jnana yogena sankhyanam means he has the true knowledge. And in Vedanta, what is knowledge? I have defined it any number of times. What is the definition of knowledge? Knowledge means seeing it as it is. இருக்கிற மாதிரி பார்க்கிறது தான் knowledge. Seeing it as it is knowledge. As long as you have a body, vyadi will come. As long as you have a body, the moment you entered into a body, you will leave the body. When and how and what and all is what we don't know. This is jnana. So what we are talking about is the two stages. So in the first stage, karma is in the bhakti is integrated with action. How do we say bhakti is integrated with action? That is why I started by saying yajna means remembrance of God, worshipping God, offering to God. Devan bhavayatenena, he said no. Parasparam bhavayantaha, he said no. All this is bhakti. Parasparam bhavayantaha, you take care of them, they take care of they esavo svishta kamaduk. This is the kamadenu that will fulfill all your things. Now all this is integration of bhakti is integrated in it. Therefore, whenever we talk about karma yoga, as in what is karma means, karma yoga, I gave the formula. What is the formula? Action plus attitude. Action not decided by a raga dvesha, actions that is decided by the shastras. What the shastras ask you to do. When the shastras ask you to do, you do because this is what you ought to do. Niyatam karma. What is this niyatam karma? Nitya and Naimittika. Kuru, you do. And when you do this, you bring in the in Karma Yoga, unless the Ishvara is brought in. Ishvara, God principle, vandada yajna karma. Therefore, throughout the Upanishadic literature, and Krishna in the Bhagavad Gita follows Upanishadic literature very much a lot, you will never find bhakti separately given. In fact, Upanishads don't have the word bhakti. Upanishads have the word upasana only. Upanishads call it as upasana. Upasana means the word Upanishad, the word upasana, the word upavasa, all has one thing in common. What is it? Upa. Upa means near. Near means you are getting closer to something. You are nearing something. In Sankhya Yoga, in Jnana Yoga, in the ultimate knowledge, you are not nearing something. You say, that I am. Are you able to follow the difference, Bharat? In Upavasa, Upavasamna, what is it? Vasati means living.
Living.
Yes, stay, place of stay. Upa means near. So Upavasa literally means staying near.
Yeah.
Yeah. Upavasamna fasting. We have taken Upavasam means fasting. It is not fasting in that sense. So Upavasam, Upanishad, Upasana, all are the Upanishadic words for mentioning bhakti. When the Puranic age became more predominant, what I mean by the Puranic is when the temple worship and other things became predominant, Bhakti Yoga seems to got branched off and people started talking about it as a separate yoga. If you go to the Upanishadic things, there are only two. Upanishads talks about only two: karma and action and knowledge. In action, what is implied in action is emotion. Bhakti is integrated in that. For action is not separated from bhavana. In that action, devotion is integrated. How do you say that? That is where we say prasada buddhi karma pala data. When we say prasada buddhi, when we say karma pala data, when we say it is Ishwararpanam, when we say all this, bhakti is integrated in it. Therefore, he never found the necessity of explaining it separately. But since Arjuna was not able to follow it, later on he goes into the 12th chapter where he talks about form worship and formless worship, and he goes into the 35 qualities of the jnani. 35 qualities of a bhakta. When he gives the 35 attitudes of a devotee, he doesn't say 35 devotional practices. Because Krishna, even when he talks about bhakti, he strictly maintains Upanishadic tradition. What is Upanishadic tradition? Upanishadic tradition talks about karma as action and bhakti as the attitude, bhavana. That is why he said 35 qualities of a bhakta, which means 35 different mental attitudes. 35 different mental attitudes of a bhakta. Adveshta sarvabhutana maitra karuna evacha. He starts. Yo me bhakta sacha me priyaha. Yo me bhakta sacha me priyaha. Whoever has this, him I consider to be my devotee. Him I consider to be my devotee. Him I consider to be my devotee. In all this you find 35 mental states. So from this you understand what? Bhakti is not in relation to a special action as in archana pannadan bhakti endradhu kedaiyadhu. அபிஷேகம்னு பண்ணாதான் பக்தின்றது கிடையாது, நைவேத்தியம்னு பண்ணாதான் பக்தின்றது கிடையாதுன்னு we derive it. We are not saying they are all wrong activities. Vedanta is not saying that. Upanishad is not saying. He is saying bhakti cannot be restricted to an action. Bhakti is the bhavana that you bring into all actions. So yajna karma vandirthunale, he is saying, Arjuna, you have been acting all along. You don't need to be told to act, but you need to be told rightly act. What is the right way of action? Bringing the right bhava and act. What is bringing in the right bhava into action? In the spoke of, in the totality, I have a limited role to play, and I play that limited role to the best of my ability, conscientiously, and whatever result I get, I take it as prasad.
Prasada.
So bhakti is are you able to follow now? Bhakti is integrated in karma. In fact, and in the action part and devotion part சேர்ந்ததுதான் யஜ்ஞ கர்மாவே. That is why I said யஜ்ஞ கர்மாக்கு நீங்க அப்படி யஜ்ஞ கர்மாக்கு நீங்க அந்த ஃபார்முலாவே போட்டு வச்சுக்கலாம். Scripture sanctioned action. Not if scripture sanctioned action you are not doing, your actions are sanctioned by ragadvesha. So ragadveshathala பண்ணும்போது கர்மாவாயிடுறது, just ordinary karmaன்னு பேர் அதுக்கு. When scripture sanctioned action you do, it turns into karma yoga, yajna karma. When scripture sanctioned action you do, scripture will not sanction just action. Scripture tells you what to do, and scripture tells you whatever the phala comes, how you should receive it, how you should accept it. So the acceptance part of the result, bhakti has come in. Instead of saying my action gave me this result, you say God gave me this result. One thing is to say my action gave me this result. Action produces result, sir. Why God Allah necessarily in this? Ishvara as karma phala data has no meaning at all. People will say the person who is stuck with tarka, the person who is stuck with logic, he will say karma phala data, Ishvara as karma phala data has no logic at all. For action will produce a result. You put the mango seed, the mango tree comes. Where is Ishvara deciding that? Even if Ishvara wants to give a neem tree out of a mango tree, he can't do that. Even he can't do that. Na Ishvara's karma phala datala is totally redundant, and that is how the active people dismisses. This is how the active people dismisses God completely. These people are called Purva Mimamsakas. இவாளுக்கெல்லாம் தான் பூர்வ மீமாம்சகாஸ்னு பேரு. Those who are stuck in karma kanda portion, we call them as. Those who are stuck in action, we call them. Those who are stuck in karma portion. What is meaning stuck in karma portion? They look at action as a logical thing and the result as in the logical factor. They refuse to bring in Ishvara as the factor at all. The moment you bring in Ishvara, what happens? Vedanta has started. Therefore, in karma itself, bhakti is integrated.
Correct.
I'm just repeating again. But you can't say jnanam is integrated in karma. Because jnanam means what? In Vedanta, jnanam means witnessing, seeing it as it is. Seeing it as it is means what? Body is born, body will die. I have nothing to do with it. Now you have jnanam. அதுதான் விட்னஸ். பாடி இஸ் born, body will die. That which is born will die. Na you have jnanam artham. Here there is no action here, here there is no emotion here. It is that is how we segregate action and devotion in one category and jnanam into another category. Because of this detachment, because of this witnessing ability, he is the one who is able to bring any solution to any crisis. In fact, for a jnani, there is no such thing called a crisis at all. Krishna says, where is crisis? Where is crisis? அதுதான் he says. Shochanan vashochastvam prajnavadamsya bhashase gatashuna gatashuscha nanushocanti panditaha. For the wise one, Arjuna, there is no crisis. Wise one க்கு எங்க crisis இருக்குது? But எனக்கு நிறைய crisis இருக்குதே சார் அப்படின்னா we belong to the yogic type. Are you able to follow? So bhaktiன்றது வந்து இங்க already God bhakti is included, is integrated. I won't say included, it is integrated. அது ரெண்டும் சேர்ந்ததுதான் யஜ்ஞ கர்மாவே. Are you able to follow? But in karma yoga, he may have the skill of an action. He may have the knowledge of the skill part of an action he will have. But what we call as true knowledge, he will not have. What we call as true knowledge is what? Seeing things as Sakshi Bhavam. Seeing things as it is. That knowledge he doesn't have. Since he doesn't have that knowledge, we don't call him as Jnani. We don't call him as knowledgeable person. Therefore, he need not bring in bhakti at all, because in those days, whenever they talk about yajna karma, whenever they talk about karma yoga, what is understood there?
Bhakti is part of it.
Bhakti is part of it, is implied in it. Bhakti is part of it, is understood already. For they don't have to bring it in separately.
Okay.
That is why even when Krishna brought in separately in chapter 12 as a bhakti yoga or chapter kondu vanda kuda, there also he spoke about form and formless, and then he says get on to formless, don't get to form, get on to formless. And what is the indication of you getting to formless? 35 mental attitudes he brings in. He doesn't bring in 35 actions.
It says 35.
35 qualities he brings in, mental qualities. He doesn't say Archana, Aradhana, pilgrimage tour, bhajans, songs, singing, dancing, naivedya. He doesn't say all that. He says, in and through all your activities, are you remembering me? That's the challenge. But our problem is, I can focus only on one. If I focus on God, world panna mudiyadu. If I focus on the world, God panna mudiyadu. Our problem is, we can only focus on one. Krishna says, you have to do both. 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 You necessarily need to have these two. You necessarily have to have these two. Why? Because as long as you are alive, you will be acting in the world. So you need to know that also. But then when you are in the world, you shouldn't get involved also. And that ability, that capacity is what he calls as, that ability, that capacity is what he calls as yajna karma, karma yoga. Are you able to follow? This is how yajna karma, this is the brief introduction. 3 நாள் இழுத்துட்டேன் அதையே. ஏன்னா அவ்வளவு தேவையா இருக்கு. What do I do? With this, we have what I thought as an introductory portion for the yajna is enough. from tomorrow, நாளைக்கு என்ன Friday.
Right, online.
Friday we have the regular online, no, tomorrow. Then we will not discuss yajna there because some of them are not into. So we will take up yajna on Saturday.
Oh, yeah, what question answers, sir?
Ada. I know, and some people from SA also coming and sitting. So
Yes.
let us not mix up with that. So we will continue with our yajna on Saturday.
Saturday morning you have a class at Hiranandani. Is it okay with you?
Yeah, that's okay. Saturday evening we will meet. Yeah, yes, Bharat.
So,
Amber,
sorry,
yeah.
sorry. I have one small rejoinder to what I asked.
Yes,
In chapter 12 of the Vedanta treatise,
yes,
so Swamiji has described 4 yogas in
Yes.
page 190.
yes, yes,
And
yes.
I'm going to leave the Hatha yoga because that is more of indolent nature.
Correct.
Because it's
Yes, yes,
very clearly he indicates through a diagram
yes,
on the last 206 page. where
yes.
he
The
says
road. Yes,
the
the
road.
road. Yes,
So before we get into the withdrawal aspect of withdrawal, meaning withdrawal from the worldly aspects
Yes.
and getting into the more into the
Yes.
Jnanam side.
yes, yes,
The question is, he
Yes.
clearly indicates that there are 3 paths.
correct.
The 3 paths. He has
Correct.
described also the each of these paths, and Bhakti Yoga he has dealt very extensively as a path
Yes.
of devotion.
Correct.
And
Yes,
ultimately, it's a gratitude, a thanksgiving aspect
Yes.
of, with all humility, we need to accept it. And the form,
Yes.
like you rightly said,
yes,
my doubt came in because in
Yes.
all the aspects which we are talking so
Yes.
far, like very clearly you mentioned in the Upanishads,
yes,
we don't talk about yoga.
Yes.
So, I'm sorry, we don't talk about bhakti at all in
Yes.
all this.
Yes.
But everywhere I have seen bhashyams which are coming up.
Yes.
Even if you look at Shankaracharya, if you read some other bhashyams also,
Yes.
they talk extensively about bhakti yoga.
Yes.
And there are very standing examples of people who have
Yes.
been bhakti, we have taken to bhakti yoga, who have attained or at least been, we assume that they have attained moksha.
Yes.
Because we
Correct.
don't witness moksha in any case.
Yes.
So we have to assume they have attained moksha. Because
Yes.
they have left an imprint that is,
Yes.
it's an eternal imprint that they are left. So that is
Yes.
why we say that they are all moksha, reached
Yes.
the moksha stage.
Correct.
So there is this path which has created this huge set of people.
Yes.
And so the prominence of this path
Yes.
is where I was looking at
Yes.
when I asked this question, because definitely I completely agree that karma yoga means both. Like you rightly said, the equation is very right. Action plus devotion is equal to karma yoga. It is definitely there, and the attitude is definitely there. But they've dealt it separately. So I asked that question because
Yes.
in a text like this,
Correct. Yeah.
and that
Now-
verse is so powerful.
Yes.
Talks about 2 yogas. Why
Yes.
not this also?
Yes. To quickly answer, he's
It's a
referring to
long
this.
question. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
I just
the
went
4
over
yogas. Yeah, yeah. No, it's okay. The 4 yogas where he distinctly speaks about Bhakti Yoga as a separate path. And there is there is a whole lot of discussions on this, and extraordinary souls have come out of this tradition helping us of Bhakti Yoga. Why in this verse he didn't talk about them? Now, what had happened is, in the background of the times of Bhagavad Gita and Upanishad, we need to interpret that verse. In the background of Bhagavad Gita, in the background of Upanishadic times, we are interpreting that verse. So Krishna is speaking in that time,
that time.
where bhakti was more of an implied thing, not a visible thing. Bhakti was more of an implied. Implied means anyway you are in action, right through you have to be in action, and since you have to be in action, you necessarily have to bring in this attitude into action. The attitude of bhakti into action is what the times of the Vedas and the Upanishads is. As and when the quantity of beings increased, Now carefully follow. I'm reconciling. As and when the quantity increased, when the likes and dislikes started increasing, when chasing the world became more and more and more, what had happened is people started moving away a lot from the scripture ordained action. They started doing actions based on likes and dislikes, and they were seeking fulfillment of that prayer primarily. So what some of the masters did at the later point of time, they segregated from these two. They segregated the karma as two separate paths as karma yoga and bhakti yoga. So today we have this thing about karma yoga, bhakti yoga and jnana yoga. இப்போ நானே in the context of yajna karma இல்லன்னா we will talk about three yogas only. Karma, bhakti, jnana, we keep talking. We never talk about these two yogas. Because at some stage some of the people, great men, thought that this segregation is necessary. What is the segregation? Separate the action into two. They segregated the action into two. What is it they segregated? They segregated the action into
Bhakti and
as though karma portion is separate and bhakti portion is separate, which is really meaningful and helpful now. That division is very, very meaningful, and the division is very essential, and the division is very helpful now for us to get a understanding. Why the segregation happened? Because we have moved away from gaining the shastric knowledge a lot. Since we have moved away from gaining the shastric knowledge a lot, and worldly activity started. That's why in the very first day when I gave the introduction to Yajna Karma and all that, I said, Yajna Karma today is not seen as a Yajna Karma. Today we see Yajna Karma as a waste of resources. We will say charitable acts, giving charity, putting it is waste. You don't waste putting everything into the fire. Instead you give it to people who are in need. Now, when the whole accent has shifted, the principle still remains the same. So we are trying to accommodate the current principle and slowly shift our understanding to the Upanishadic tradition. That is why Swamiji has kept this in part B, and when he goes to part C, he shifts the gears completely.
Okay.
That's why he's kept this portion in part B of Vedanta treatise. And when he goes to part C, he shifts the entire understanding to the classic Upanishadic style.
Okay.
In the Bhagavad Gita, reverse order he does. In Vedanta treatise, he goes from our level to the Upanishadic tradition. In Bhagavad Gita, he starts with Upanishadic tradition and then he says, Purila another, he keeps coming down. Which is the very traditional Upanishadic way of teaching. Clear?
Okay, sir.
In the context, illama eppa pesnalum, we will also talk about karma bhakti jnanam only. Because in the later stages, for better understanding purposes, this division became necessary. Why this division became necessary is because we moved away from the Vedic Upanishadic style to what technically we call it as the Upanishadic style to the Puranic style. The Puranic style is where the deities became powerful. Shiva became powerful. Vishnu became powerful. Ganesha became powerful. Yeah. Shiva and Vishnu are the two basic traditions. Shankaracharya came and introduced 6 traditions. Ganapatyam, where Krishna is a separate, where Ganesha is a separate tradition, Shanmuga is a separate tradition, Surya is a separate thing. Now all these segregations came in much later for making it better. What is integrated and explained together in a complicated way, masters at the later stage segregated and showed us. Our segregate panni show pannatike, we have to give elaborate explanations now. Are you able to follow? They have segregated and shown. What did they segregate? Karmale bhaktinrad irukundrathu purilandradanaala bhaktinrad adilen urichi they took it out separate, and when they showed that itself is so, that itself looks that complicated. Are you able to follow?
Yes.
Yeah. With this, we conclude the introduction to the Yajna portion. From the next class, we will start from the verse Brahma, because that's where we have to start. The Yajna portion starts from Brahmarpanam, Brahmahavihi, and then we'll go on to read the 12 Yajnas. With this introduction, when we go into the 12 Yajnas, the understanding of the 12 Yajnas will be that much easier. That's why I gave such an elaborate, because for whatever I'll going to talk in the 12 Yajnas, I'll be referring to some of it which is said in the introductory portion, so that you will be able to connect. Seriya? So we will meet on Ganesh, I will text you tomorrow whether do we meet on Saturday or Monday. I will text you tomorrow. I am not very I don't want to say anything today. I will text you tomorrow, and then we'll and then you can inform everybody.
Yes, sir.
Seriya?
Yes, sir. But tomorrow we want the Q&A.
Yes, that we have. Our normal Friday e-learning class Q&A we have tomorrow, not the Yajna portion sessions. Seriya?
Yes, sir.
Hari Om.